religious values in those practices. He has introduced real human rights. No any other religious teacher has ever done that. Human rights to every human being, whether high class or low caste, whether male or female. All the other existing religions in those days, even today, some of them discriminate only high caste, high class people can practice religion. Others were not allowed to enter into their places of worship. The Buddha, what he did? He ordained laborers, coolies, scavengers as monks and allowed the kings and the ministers to come and worship respectively. How he tried to give real human rights. Women were regarded as very unfortunate living beings. Those days there was no difference between animal and woman. Women also had no soul, they say, like animals. Therefore, if women also want to go to heaven, they have to use husband's passport. Women have no passport because they have no soul. See the way how they have treated women. Not allowed to go out from their house. Duty of a woman is to deliver the babies, attend to them, attend to the husband, housework. The woman does not know anything about the world or the languages or religion. They were in the dark. So first time in the human history, Buddha opened the gate for women to enter into the holy order, not only practice Buddhism, enter into the holy order as nuns. Even the 20th century in the West also still, some religious authorities are reluctant to give equal rights to women. Can you imagine? The Buddha has done this more than 2,500 years ago. Because of that, the followers of other religions who were against the women criticized, condemned, accused, blamed the Buddha. They say the Buddha has polluted religious way of life by allowing women to enter into the holy earth. Even today, there are some Brahmins in India who never eat anything cooked or touched by a woman. Can you imagine? Today, I was there for 4 years, I know very well. If the food cooked by a woman, touched by a woman, they never eat. See? That is what Mr. Nehru, the Prime Minister of India, he was a rationalist. He said, I really cannot understand what kind of courage and knowledge the Buddha had to break these age-old traditions in India that people maintain as religious practices. He has revolutionized, completely changed the religious way of life in India. That is why the other part of the world, started by Chinese, earlier Sri Lanka or Burma, Thailand, Brahmanism, Jainism, Hinduism were strong, very strong at that time in India. Buddhism was not very popular at that time. Very few people accepted Buddhism. Only during Emperor Asoka's time, that is 200 years after the Buddha, he spread Buddhism. The West also. He sent Buddhism to Syria, Egypt, and Greece 227 times. He has sent missionaries to Western countries. It is recorded. 227 times. Then, why Chinese accepted Buddhism? Why not Brahmanism? Why not Hinduism? Why not Jainism? Those religions were more popular in India at that time. Why they have chosen Buddhism? Because they knew Buddhism is not confined only to Indian people, to practice according to Indian way of life. It is a universal religion. He has given a universal message for every human being to practice. So Chinese knew this. That is why they accepted Buddhism, introduced, then again from China to Korea, from Korea to Japan, and this part of the world. Because of that universal message, they knew it is not necessary for Chinese to become Indians to practice Buddhism. They can remain as Chinese, they can respect their Chinese culture, and they can practice the message of the Buddha also. But if they accept Hinduism or Brahmanism or Jainism, they cannot do that. They have to follow Indian tradition. See the difference. Now we can understand who the Buddha is. Why we pay homage and respect. Then comes the third part. How can he save us? That question is wrong from the Buddhist point of view. Why it is wrong? He has said, Tumhe kichang atappang akhataro tathagata. Tathagata, another name for the Buddha. Tathagata, or the Buddha, can tell you what to do and what not to do to find out your salvation. Tumhe kichang atappang, you have to work for that. Another person cannot work for you. Another person cannot give you salvation. You cannot get your salvation from God. You cannot get your salvation from the Buddha or Bodhisattva or anybody unless you work for that. It is like this. When you are sleepy, another person cannot sleep on your behalf. You have to sleep. When you are sick, another person cannot take medicine to get cured your sickness. When you are hungry, another person cannot eat for you. You have to eat. Exactly like this. If you want to find out your salvation, you have to work for that. Don't wait for that until it comes down from heaven. It will never come down from heaven. You have to work. And the method introduced by the Buddha, where is practical, through our own experience we can understand. But when we depend on others, we are not sure. Whether we can get or not, we are not sure. They say only after our death. Who knows? All their promises after our death, not while we are living here. The Buddha's advices while we are living here, not after our death. A man who wanted to go to heaven, very rich man, who would have done? Approached the Buddha and said, we have no time to meditate, to observe 8 precepts and attend to retreat and all sort of things. Even then, after our death, we like to go to heaven. Is there any shortcut to go to heaven after our death? Then the Buddha asked, why do you want to wait until you die to experience heavenly bliss? While you are here in this world, if you know how to handle your life properly, you can experience heavenly bliss. This is the Buddha. We can experience heavenly bliss while we are here in this world. There is nothing for us to gain from another person. Then after our death, when existence again takes place, rebirth takes place, we will be born in certain areas, certain countries, certain planets, where we can have very peaceful, happy life. That is created by us, molded by us, not by another person. There is nobody to come and take us to heaven or send us to hell. We create our own self. It is in our hands. That is why that simple saying I always mention, human life is in between heaven and hell. Only human life, but not other living beings. Human mind we can develop, cultivate, purify it very easily than any other living beings in this world. Therefore we are close, very close to heaven. Heaven means not another world, bliss. Again, human mind can become the most cruel, wicked, dangerous force to destroy the whole world. There is no any other living beings who can become so nasty and so wicked. So when we abuse our human mind, then very easily we experience hellfire in between heaven and hell. But other living beings are very far away. So, salvation we never expect from the Buddha, from any God, or from our masters or gurus. Many people depend on their gurus or teachers and masters too much. That is personality cult, according to Buddhism. Depend too much on gurus and teachers. For everything they must have guru. Because they never use their mind, they never use their intelligence. Krishnamurti, a well-known philosopher, great thinker, very highly intellectual person who never had any particular religion. Everybody respects him. He says, those who get ideas always from others are second-class human beings. Because they never think ask another person to think on their behalf and get the idea from them and practice. The Buddha's teaching is, you have to think, you have to understand, you have to practice. Paccattam veditabbo vinyu. Individually, you have to practice. Individually, you can experience without depending on anybody. The trouble is, our people never think, never study what the Buddha taught. When other religionists or missionaries come and criticize, accuse, you keep quiet. You do not know how to defend or how to justify your method, what you are doing. And they disturb your belief, create confusion in your mind. That is why religious knowledge is important. Otherwise, very easily people can mislead you. You believe what they say, what they preach. So, we do not depend on Buddha for our salvation. When they say, the Buddha cannot save you, we have to say, no, we don't depend on Buddha. And another thing that I always remind what to say. When they come and tell you, you cannot go to heaven unless you accept this religion, unless you believe in God, then what is your answer? I have told you. Why should we go to your heaven? That is for you, not for us. We have our own heaven as Buddhists. This is the answer. And we have discovered our heaven more than 2,500 years ago. But you have discovered your heaven less than 2,000 years ago. We had more experience about heaven. When we go to your heaven, we become strangers. Because we don't know anything about their way of life. But we are used to our way of life. Scientists, rationalists, psychologists, free thinkers, and great thinkers, including the Buddha, all are in hell. If I go to hell, I can have a nice time with them. All the intellectuals are in hell. I believe heaven is good only for playboys. This is the way how they joke. This kind of ridiculous statement that they say, if you don't believe God, you go to hell. You cannot go to heaven. Create fear, frighten people, misleading. Those who have no religion, those who do not believe in God or heaven or hell, or karma or rebirth, nothing. But they also lead a very gentle, very reasonable, very respectable life. For what? No God to punish them or reward them. No heaven for them to go and enjoy. They are not scared of hell. They don't believe there will be another life hereafter. They don't believe there will be karma to support us or disturb us. Then why do they want to lead respectable life? I really respect it. Because all those who follow a religion, they do something by expecting something in return. Otherwise they never do. You never give dana if you don't believe Hereafter, in the next birth, you can become very rich. You will be born in a very rich family. You can enjoy your life. If not, you can go to heaven. Otherwise, you never give dana. Because of that, you give dana. But those who have no religion, no such idea. They don't want to go to heaven. They don't want to get reward. They don't want to get anything. But as human beings, we must maintain our human dignity. We must develop our human values. We must maintain our humane qualities. We must give due credit to our human intelligence. Full use of human life. They are understanding people. They are not slaves to any religion or God or devil or anybody. There's a beautiful saying in Sinhalese language. A poem. Etat netat paralova sudaneni mahat halot yehe ki paukam natabamatit. Etat e paralova inward avajanet etat netat paukalahate vehi vipat. The Sinhalese language. A poem. He said, whether there will be rebirth or not, etat netat, paralosudan, halot tehe ki paukam, it is advisable for you to give up bad things. Whether there will be another hereafter or not, it is advisable for you to give up bad habit, bad deeds, wicked deeds. Whether there will be heaven or hell or rebirth, definitely, people experience the bad effect if they have committed bad deeds. There is no religion, no God, no religion. If we commit bad things, we have to face bad effects. So without depending on religion or God or heaven, this is the way how to cultivate our human life. That is why we are called Manushya or humans. Other living beings cannot develop this understanding. They struggle for their survival, for their protection, for their food and little bit of pleasure. They cannot think beyond that. But as human beings, as Greek philosophers say, we are the ones who can use sense of reasoning. Others have no such power, no reasoning power. Other living beings do certain things because of fear. Now, we train animals, monkeys, lions, tigers to play and jump and do all sorts of things. They follow the master because of the fear. They were trained by beating and beating and beating and beating, and because of that fear, I have a cat in my room. Every time when this cat tries to catch a bird, I go with my rotan and show this one, and I give one. 2 days ago, a bird came into my room. Something wrong with the wings, cannot fly properly. My cat was aiming just to jump like this. When the cat was aiming, I said, "Hey, stop! Believe me, sit down quietly." Can you imagine animals? Never want to open the eyes and see where the bird is. Just like that. Because of the fear. Not through understanding. But as human beings, we have understand why we should not do this, why we should do these things. That is called reasoning. So, when we analyze one by one, we can understand actually what Buddha has contributed to open our minds, to get rid of our fear and imaginations and worries that we have created due to our ignorance and misunderstanding. All the others try to introduce their religious belief by giving some concept and belief for people to hold on in their mind. Then close. So they hold on these beliefs and concepts. They think they are right. Others are wrong. Because they never open their mind. Religion is, their authorities give warning. You cannot listen to the teachings of another religion. You cannot visit a place of worship of another religion. You cannot read religious book of another religion. Because if they do that, they open their mind. If the Buddha come to know that we visit churches or mosques or Hindu temples and give due respect to them also, the Buddha will bless us, knowing that we are very understanding people. We are not jealous, narrow-minded, but understanding people. Pujacha pujaniyanam etang mangalamattam. Here are the sayings of the Buddha. Respect those who are worthy of respect, irrespective of their religion or race or color. If you think they are worthy of respect, this is the Buddhist attitude. So when you take item by item what the Buddha has said, you can understand whether it is as advisable for us to take refuge in the Buddha or not. When you take refuge in the Buddha, we develop confidence, understanding, knowledge to follow his footsteps, not to worship him. That is the real meaning of taking refuge, to develop our confidence and understanding. Without taking refuge, we cannot do that. When we say Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, I take refuge in the Buddha, it does not mean only for my protection, to avoid my sicknesses and evil spirits and ghosts and devils and this and that. The real meaning of taking refuge is to develop my devotion, confidence, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, purity, to become like him one day. Because he said, Buddhahood is open to everybody. He has not monopolized. That's why people say in every living being there is a Buddha nature, Buddha seed. That means the potential. There's nobody in this world who can say you cannot become a Buddha. You have potential. But you have to cultivate and cultivate and cultivate until you reach the final. So he has not monopolized, open to everybody. So now let us come to Dharma. Dhammam saranam gacchami. I take refuge in the Dharma. What is Dharma? I have given the definition of this word from the Buddhist point of view. Otherwise there are so many meanings. When you refer to a dictionary, I think there are about 45 meanings for this word Dharma or Dharma. But the definition given from the Buddhist point of view is like this. Chatusu apayesu cha vatta dukkhesu cha apatamane kattva dhareti siddham. It's very meaningful. The method introduced or taught by the Buddha as a dharma. Why it is called dharma? Dhar is the root of this word. Dhar. Pali, Sanskrit word derived from one root. Then we made the noun or verb after that. So dhar becomes dharma. Dhar means hold. Example, this earth, Pali, Sanskrit, dharani. Dharani means earth. Why it is called dharani? That which holds everything. Therefore it is called dharani. Exactly in the same manner. The method introduced by the Buddha to hold, support, to uphold us without allowing us to get into the unfortunate state of suffering, hell, animal, spirit, ghost, devils, or any other forms of unfortunate, miserable living being. So without allowing us to force, now, the dharma hold, support. See how meaningful it is. The word religion does not give this meaning. Therefore, the Buddha did not introduce a religion, although we use the word religion. It is dharma. He introduced dharma. So, dhammo have rakkati dhammachari. Again, people say, if you believe in God, if you follow His commandments, God will protect you. What Buddhism says, the Buddha says, dhammo have rakkati dhammachari. If you live in accordance by following and practicing this dharma, that dharma protects you. That dharma never allow you to suffer, get into trouble. Dharma will protect you. Here dharma means God, according to other religions. Dharma is a universal law, not created by God or Buddha or anybody. That universal law exists forever. No one can create, no one can destroy. That is that. And karma also belongs to the same thing. It is a universal law, not only to Buddhists or Hindus or others. Every living being. Belief is immaterial. We cannot believe certain things because we cannot understand. So we cannot reject many things just because we cannot understand. How much can we understand? Our knowledge is very, very limited. Our senses are limited. Our thinking power is limited. Therefore we can understand little bit. That is why we need the Dhamma, the knowledge and understanding to open this mind, to extend our understanding further and further. So, when we take refuge in the Dharma, we live according to this Dharma without violating the universal law. Then we harmonize, we cooperate with the existing universal law. We are protected. If we violate one of these universal laws, we get into trouble. It's not from the God. Let us take electricity. We must know how to handle electricity if we want to make use. If we neglect, if we don't want to listen to others, if we handle wrongly, we get electric shock. So it is not the punishment created by God or devil. Action and reaction. karma taught by the Buddha, exactly like this. You cannot escape from the karmic effect by worshipping, praying, offering, burning joysticks. Your duty is to follow that universal law without breaking, without violating. So the dharma taught by the Buddha is not for us to worship, but to practice. Then we experience. So we will be protected very well if we really follow the Dharma. Now, by realizing this, we take refuge in the Dhamma, then more knowledge, more understanding appear in our mind. Then we take refuge in the Sangha, the holy order, the community of the Sangha. When you say, I take refuge in the Sangha, not individual Sangha, the whole Sangha community, from Sariputta, Moggallana, Ananda, Kasyapa, from Buddha's time, started from this. Then we develop our understanding because they are the custodians. They are the guardians to guide us, advise us, lead us, even today. We need their guidance. Otherwise, we do not know whether we are right or wrong. Our knowledge is right or wrong. We need. So when we develop our confidence in them by taking refuge, then we develop our relationship, our understanding by giving due respect. Again, in return, we also get their blessings and compassion and kindness and understanding. It is very important. So Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha, these three triple gems, is like doctor, medicine and nurse. The Buddha is just like a doctor. He prescribes by studying, diagnose the sicknesses, what is wrong with us, he prescribes the Dharma medicine. So without depending on the Buddha, our duty is to take that Dharma dosage. So the Dharma is just like the medicine prescribed by the doctor. Nurses are just like monks, Sangha community. They are the ones who guide us and give the medicine at proper time and diet and give all the necessary guidance in the hospital for us to get rid of our sickness. So they are just like Sangha. They are also important. Buddha, the Dhamma, Sangha, we take refuge by realizing, by knowing how they can contribute for our peace, happiness, satisfaction and salvation within this lifetime and hereafter. So did you get the answer? Sharing of merit. Imina punya kammena upajjaya gunottara acari upakarate mata pita piya mamang Suriyo Chandi Maharaja Gunavanta Narapiche Brahma Maharaja Indrache Lokapalacha Devata Yamo Mitta Manusache Vajjata Virikapite Sabbe Satta Sukhirantu Punyani Pakatani Me Sukhan दिविदान्देन्तु त्वं पापेतवोमताम् इमिना पुण्यकामेन इमिना उद्दिशेन च खिप्पाहं सुलभेतेव तन्नुपादानचेतनम् येषां तानि नादम्मा यावनिब्बानतो मम न सन्तु सर्वदा एव यत् जातो भवे भवे उजुचित्तो सतिपन्यो सल्लेको विरियवामिना नारालभन्तु नोकासं तुञ्च विरियेषु मे बुद्धादिपवरो नातो ब्रह्मो नातो अरुत्तमो नातो पच्चेक सम्बुद्धो संगो नातो